This meeting is being recorded.
Hello.
How are you guys doing?
Nice background.
Yeah, it was a nice day out today. Nice day out. So, what? We're gonna be outside all day.
It's a nice day.
It is nice. Nice breeze, nice weather.
Hey, same.
If I
It's been
can-
good.
Yeah, but it's Canada, so you never know. You never know. It could start raining and snowing in like 5 minutes. You never know. But we'll see. I actually just got this umbrella. I put it up today because last year I was planning to do a lot of work on the balcony outside like this, but the sun overheated my laptop and it would shut off after like 20 minutes.
Oh, dude, that's not nice.
So I'm like, yeah, I need to get an umbrella, but then winter came, so I was like, there's no point. But so this is my first time I just put up the umbrella, so I'm like, yeah, definitely gotta be out here. But
Yeah,
welcome. Let's jump into things. You guys know the drill. Looks like most of you have been on one of these calls before. Maybe Joe, maybe Dylan, maybe you guys, might be your first time. If it is, I'll let you guys know that it's just an open Q&A. Sometimes we do call reviews, but primarily people asking questions. We talk sales, we talk whatever it is you might need in terms of interview skills, sourcing roles, whatever it is, we kind of just open up the floor. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's open up the floor. Who's got questions? What do you guys want to cover today?
I got a 1-minute video I'd like to share if you can give me some feedback on.
Absolutely, man. Drop it in the chat.
I'll just share my screen because I kind of just made it myself. I didn't use Loom or anything.
Oh, you don't have it uploaded anywhere? Cool. Well, yeah, we can jump into that first. Go ahead,
Okay.
share screen, and let's take a listen.
Okay.
You have to request, and then I'll approve
Oh,
it.
I see. Okay.
There we go.
Now I'm able to. Here we go. Let me know if the audio is okay.
Yep. If you share audio, should be good.
Okay. Here we go.
Yeah, I don't hear anything. I don't think you shared audio. Yeah, you didn't.
Oh, I didn't? Okay.
Now, if you hit the top there, if you go to the top, you might be able to, you'll see the drop-down menu, and then you can add audio to it. If not, you could stop sharing, reshare, and then there's a little box on the left that'll say share computer sound.
Okay. Maybe I'll just try to make a link because I don't want to waste anyone's time here trying to figure this out. Can you see my screen right now?
Yeah, I can see it. It's quick. If you just stop sharing and then you share again, you'll see hit share again, and then before you actually pick the screen, do you see the little checkbox at the bottom left?
Checkbox at the bottom left.
Like once you hit share screen.
Yeah, no, it just shows which options. Share sound. Here we go. Okay, so hit this one, share. Okay, I'll try again now. See if you can hear it.
Hi, my name is Miguel Leiva, and I'm sending you this video because I'd love to work with you as a closer. So over the past 6 years, I've been in sales and account management in the sportsbook industry, where I handled high-value clients on a daily basis and generated over $800,000 in revenue. This helped me build really strong communication skills and the ability to connect with prospects on a deep level. I've also built skills in team building and leadership, as I had the opportunity to train sales agents into account managers and work across various teams. And to further develop my sales ability, I brought this skill set to this industry, and I joined Time Martin Sales Community Closer College. Here I'm actively working on my framing of the calls, my discovery, my objection handling, and how to properly pitch and present a service or product in a way that's super exciting to a prospect. And as a result, I do feel like I would be a really good fit for the team. And what I'm looking for is to be on a team long term and to eventually grow and develop into other positions as the company needs.
All right, pause
I'd
it.
love to be part of a team with top.
Okay, so few things. Firstly, which you probably already know is going to be one of my things, is it's choppy. It's super choppy in terms of just like the video itself. I don't know if that's a screen share thing or if the video itself is like that. So that's the
Oh,
first thing you definitely want to get cleared up.
okay.
Secondly, location. Is that where you would take sales calls from?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
But
Should be,
I could remove I could zoom in a little bit more or remove the back.
yeah,
Uh,
I would, looks like you're at like the dinner table, but it
oh,
would be,
okay.
yeah, I don't know. It just like in the background makes it look like you're at like a massage parlor. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Um, so maybe remove it. I don't know if it would make a huge difference. I don't know. It's just the feel I got. It didn't feel like this guy's in an office taking calls. It's like this guy's getting ready to go around the corner and get a massage, you know? So maybe remove that background piece. Let me know if anyone else is getting that vibe from the video. And then the last thing I would say is just overall energy. I see a little bit more upbeat, a little bit more confident, a little bit more coherent with the sections that you're putting together. Try to cut out the ums and ahs when you transition. Just try to bang it out and get it nice and coherent and concise. See if we can get it within that 1 minute time frame. Sound good?
Okay. Sounds good.
Cool.
Yeah,
Overall,
the
though, much
choppiness
better
is
than last time. Yeah.
it was
Go ahead.
probably because of the uploading it because I recorded it with the camera and the audio, so it's probably because I'm sharing it.
Possibly, yeah. If
Yeah.
it's smoother when you share, then it's fine. Just make sure in whatever medium you're sharing it with, the person that watches it doesn't have that choppiness. You should be good.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks, man.
Cool, no problem. Daniel, Jesse, Lucian, Daniel, what's up, man?
Hi, what's up, man? So yeah, just wanted to see what you thought about my profile as well. Just sent it to you. So if you could just take a look at I've added a bunch of mock calls in there, and also potentially the 1 minute loom. I just did it a new one as well. Don't know if you
Sweet.
had the chance to take a look.
Yeah, let's take a look. Um, do revenue, time zones is the video we'll check out in a second. Track record. Goodness. All right, portfolio. Close example, objection. Well, then you just a couple objections. Awesome. And then just make sure all those links work. Awesome. You can click them and just watch the video examples. Quick 2 minute. Is this just you talking or is there a response from the prospect?
There's a prospect in there, yeah.
There's a prospect in there?
Yeah.
And does it show the actual overcome where they're like, yeah, okay, let's do it?
Yeah.
2 minutes seems a little quick to be handling the objection. So what I would say, I'm not sure if they're all like this, but let's see the full thing from like when they first give the concern, and it looks like it's a role play. But yeah, let's see when they give the concern, you handling it, and then how that results in a close. Is it's going to be more powerful than maybe you just saying stuff. Looks like some of them are a little bit longer. So if you do have that, great. If not, then let's add that. Okay.
Sure.
And then let's take a look at, the rest is just experience. Let's take a look at this 1 minute video.
Hey there, my name is Daniel Anson, and I've been in the high ticket space for the
I like the look overall. I like the look. I like the setup. I like the quality. It looks good. Distance of the camera, everything is good so
past
far.
5 years. I've cash collected over $1.5 million in B2B and B2C. In B2B, helping fit pros scaling their business, fitness as well, and dating. In this time, I've worked in team environments. I have invested a lot in my own sales training and owning it my skill set through the Remote Closer Academy from Cole Gordon, Rob Quinn's training on closing, Mike Barron. I've invested over about $30,000 in sales training myself. And constantly, I'm a junkie for growth. So I've read a lot of books on sales like Grant Cardone, 10X, and these kind of things. Right now, what I'm looking for is I want to be part of a team long term. I want to be part of a team of hungry killers that are going out there creating opportunities for themselves and they're not willing to settle for average. As those are the kind of traits that I have myself, and I would see myself fitting in that type of culture. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about your company. So what we could do is just hop on a call, see if there is a alignment. I can show you my skill sets when it comes to closing, and we can move forward if it's a good fit. there. My name is Daniel Anson, and I've been in the high ticket space for the past 5 years. I've cash collected over $1.5 million in B2B and B2C in B2B.
So the only other feedback I'd give for this one is I can kind of tell when you look off to see what the next thing is
Yeah.
to say. So
Yeah.
let's make it so that it's like you know how to sell yourself, you know how to present everything. You don't need to have your script. I think everything is fine outside of the fact that you can kind of tell when you're like checking off to the side to scroll to the next thing to add. Make sense?
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
Awesome. Overall solid though, dude. Much better than before.
Right. Nice.
Cool. Jassy, what's up, man?
Hey man, I just have two questions. So
Yep.
the first one, I'm an outbound seller right now,
Mhm.
and sometimes when people pick up the calls right away, they say I'm not interested, right when I give my intro. So how do you normally deal with that?
What's your intro?
So is it, hey, is this Ty?
Yep.
Hey Ty, it's just Jesse from 10x BNB. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, man. I just saw that you responded to one of our ads about possibly starting an Airbnb business, and I just
Okay,
had a
pause
couple.
there. So this is an inbound, like they opted in for something.
So they opted in, and we're just calling outbound. So they
Okay,
don't
and the
call.
point where they say not interested is right when you say, "This is Jesse from XYZ. How are you?"
Yeah, either there or the next where I just say, I saw you're interested in starting an Airbnb business. I just had a couple minutes here. Thought I'd reach out and see if I could help.
Okay, so there's two things I would work on then when it comes to getting people to actually go through the setting call with you. First is you want to put the onus on them as quickly as possible, which is that part where you say, "I saw what you did," which is what you did to warrant my call. So
Mhm.
I'd want to get there quicker if this and cut out the like "How are you?" piece if people are cutting me off there. And the way I would do it is just by being like, "Hey, is this Jesse? Hey, Jesse, I saw you were looking at XYZ. What made you want to reach out to us?" Something like that,
Yeah.
you know? Or, "Hey, I saw you looking at XYZ. Does that ring a bell? Do you remember doing that?" And then they're like, "Oh, yeah, I did." And then you kick it off. The "how are you" is just unnecessary fluff, right?
Okay.
If it's like you're calling them out of the blue, get to the point. You don't need to like build false rapport. They know you don't care how they are. They're not
Yeah.
going to say, "Well, my wife just left me," and that like you're not going to get into it
Yeah.
because you don't care, and you know what I mean. So just get to why you're calling, and people will actually like that more because you're not wasting time, especially if you're B2B and you're dealing with entrepreneurs, business owners, all that stuff. They want to like time is money to them, right? And then your energy, your tone. Make sure like the way I would go about it is almost as like I'm questioning what's going on in terms of why they reached out to us, so that way, and I'm using a tone that's familiar of, "Hey, you reached out to us, what's going on, why'd you reach out to us," rather than just being monotone with it. So I'm going to be like, "Hey, is this Jassy? Hey, Jesse, I saw you were just clicking on our page and you opted in for XYZ. Does that ring a bell?" "Oh, okay, awesome, man. Well, talk to me. What made you reach out?" And that way the onus is immediately on them and they can now respond and tell me why they're reaching out and going through and clicking and opting into our stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. Any other questions on that?
On that, so yeah, if they do end up still saying like I'm not interested, because I do get that sometimes, how'd you handle that?
I would probably, well, it depends. So what are you selling?
Coaching for people that want to start Airbnb co-listing.
Okay, so they're just saying not interested in selling, like getting Airbnb coaching pretty much once you
Yeah.
say, "Hey, it's thing from Airbnb."
Yeah.
I usually, to be honest, there's lots of ways to handle it. What I do personally is I would just be like, "Not interested in what?"
Mhm.
And then they're usually like, "Whatever you have." I'm like, "Well, I haven't like offered anything." What are you talking about? And then they usually just like at that point you just need a pattern interrupt because the not interested is usually just a vomit reaction. It's just
Yeah.
a reaction to, "Oh, sales guy, not interested,"
Mhm.
right? And once they say, but if they are coherent in their response and they're like, "Oh, I'm not interested in getting help with Airbnb,"
Yeah.
then I'll be like, "Okay, cool. Well, why'd you opt in then?
Mhm.
What made you reach out then if you're not looking for help?" And then they're usually like, "Oh, well, I was just kind of checking, just looking around, Like, "Oh, cool, man. What interested you in looking around?" what sparked your interest? What'd you like about the ad, right? Depends on the context of where they came from. And usually you get into the conversation from there. But if they're continuously like, no, I'm not interested, whatever, just leave it and just move on because you're just wasting time at that point. Like you're not trying to convince someone that doesn't want help to get help. You're just trying to find the people that need help. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
if they're adamant on like, oh no, I'm good, then move on. The only reason why you do like one or two checks is because typically, because like I've opted in for lots of stuff. If I don't want a call and I don't want help, I put a fake number.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like them putting in their real phone number with like, they probably are just caught off guard from the call and are just using a knee-jerk reaction. So
Yeah.
that's why I might do one or two checks. Does that make sense?
yeah, that makes sense. Just to see if
Cool.
it's a smoke screen or if they actually meant it.
Yeah, see if it's a smoke screen. It's just like when someone's like, "Oh, I want to talk, but I don't have time right now. I gotta go." I might, ask one more question, and then if they're like, they answer and they say, "But I do have to run," then I'm like, "All right, no problem. Maybe I'll reschedule it, whatever." Right? Just to see if it's a knee-jerk reaction. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
Because it's the odd. People get so many calls. People dial so often that it's just the automatic response to be like not interested. It's like when you walk into a store, you're looking for something, you look lost, you can't find it. Someone says, "Hey, do you need help?" And you're just knee-jerk reaction. No, I'm good. You know what I mean?
Yes,
So you want to make sure it's not that, and then you can move on. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and
Sweet.
yeah, so my second question was, so last week when I asked you when people give service level answers like, I just want to make more income, right? You told me to ask, okay, yeah, tell me more about that. So I've tried that. It's worked out on a lot of people, like they start opening up. But I still get a couple of people that say, oh, what do you mean? I'm just trying to make more money. Who doesn't want to make more money? So
Well, you're gonna ask the same question, but phrase it in a little bit of a different way. You know what I mean? So, and again, there's so many ways to do it, but the general principle is don't move on unless they give you an answer. And you can use analogies if they are really adamant about it, but typically, if someone's like, "Oh, I just want to make more money," I'm just like, "Yeah, but make more money for what?" Like, because obviously making more money takes a lot of effort. So what are you doing this for? And they might give you a response like if they're like 3-4 times fighting about it, at that point it's like, why are we talking to this guy? That's like, why is this person so, you know what I mean? Why is this person so like adamant? You're tough. I'm the person that's supposed to help you achieve your goals, but you're not willing to actually disclose it to me,
yeah,
right? I've even heard people say things like, "Hey, well, you ever heard the term that vague goals get vague results?" Well, I mean, dude, well, let's get clear on what we're actually going for so we can see what to do. I mean, what are you going after, man? So there's there's so many ways to do it, but the general principle is that if they don't give you the answer, then just rephrase the question in a different way. Sometimes you got to do it twice. Sometimes you got to do it 3 times. Sometimes you might have to do it 4 times. But it doesn't make sense to move on if they're not answering something as simple as their goals, their problems, those kinds of things. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
like
if they don't have either of those, then they're not like, why are you spending thousands of dollars on something without a clear goal for what we're going for here or a clear problem to solve? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
they definitely have something.
Because what I normally do is like if they just give me another vague answer, I just ask them what the goal is and try to work backwards. Like, okay, like why aren't you there yet? Or what's stopping you from getting there?
Yeah, that's another way to do it. 100%.
Mhm.
Sweet.
All right, thanks.
Lucian, what's up, man?
Hey Ty, I had like a question about I came across like a pipeline who requests a video of between 2 to 5 minutes. So question is again, so whereas last time we came upon like someone asking for a 2-minute video, so you said 2 minutes sharp, it's gotta be a 2 minute. When someone like asks for a 2 to 5 minutes, like how long should it be?
Don't overthink it. If they give you 2 to 5, then make it 2 to 5. You know,
Okay.
somewhere within there. I'm just saying, if they request something specific, like just hit that to the best of your ability. If they say 2 to 5, don't make it 5 minutes and 10 seconds, and don't make it a minute and 50 seconds. You know, just be somewhere within 2 to
Okay.
5. Really use the time it takes to be as coherent as possible in the video. Are they asking for any video specifics, or do they just say send me a 2 to 5 video?
They have like a 10 kind of questionnaire or like questions you should guide
Should answer in
yourself
the
to.
video.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So if you really want that offer, maybe it's a solid company, make the video, answer the questions, make sure it's within 2 to 5 minutes.
Okay. So it's actually a pipeline. It's for I think it's rep lineup.
Mhm.
And I wanted to ask you, like, for the last 2 questions in their questionnaire, the 8th question is tell us an interesting fact about you. And the last one is anything but boring. And they also add
Anything but what? Boring? Anything but boring? Is that what
but
it said?
boring, yeah.
Boring. Okay.
And they also add, like, afterwards, if you would like to share anything else of value, feel free to do it.
Mhm. I've actually talked to the owner of that company. Maybe I'll interview him and ask him what his thoughts are on that. But I mean, tell him an interesting fact. I mean, when it comes to a lot of these specific interview questions, I can only tell you from my perspective. A lot, like, the business owner might have their own ideology as to why they ask that and what they're looking to see, and it could be as complex as the way you answer it and the tonality and the energy you use, to as simple as, is this an interesting guy? Because interesting people they have commitment or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there could be so many reasons as to why they're saying that. So the way I would look at it is like, okay, I'm gonna pick an interesting story, make sure it's interesting. I'm gonna see if it shows traits. Like, I'm gonna make sure it's a story that shows traits and qualities that a salesperson would have, and I'm gonna make sure that I have good storytelling etiquette while I tell it, which means my energy, my cadence, and all of that is on point. So I'm going to try to hit those 3 things and see, that's how I would go about it. So when it comes to a story that might be in alignment with what traits that salesperson might have, it might be, maybe a time you gave that little bit extra when you were on a sports team in order to achieve something. It might be when, maybe you worked at a past place where you brought the whole team together to have them hit a goal. It could be a time where, just something. It could be a sales story about something you did on your last sales team. Or it could just be something that, yeah, I don't know. I would probably try something like that.
Okay. And for the last one, I was thinking, I don't know, maybe something of a reference that could, like, link up to, like, an ideology of the pipeline itself. I don't know, maybe something about sales, or like a sales book or something that I can find about them. What do you think?
Good. You could. What was the question again, word for word? What did they ask? Just an interesting story about you?
This is like an interesting thing of fact about you. So they also avoid telling you can touch your nose with your tongue, tell the truth, but make it fascinating.
Okay, so an interesting fact about you. So maybe it's not a story about achieving something. Maybe you just, maybe something you're good at that not many people are good at. It's like, there's no like one way to answer this. There's no one way to be like, this is how you. I can't coach you to answer it in the perfect way that they're going to love. You know what I mean? Because it's an interesting fact about you, dude. I don't know how many interesting things there are about you. So who knows? Maybe you can list them all in the community and have everyone vote on what the most interesting thing is. But yeah, I don't know what else to say there.
Okay, and for the last one, the one about anything but boring, like share anything else of value.
Oh, it's just saying. That was a separate question. Okay.
Yeah.
That was a separate question saying share anything that's not boring. That's what it said.
Yeah.
I gotta message Jake and see what his thoughts are on why he has those in his pipeline. But I mean, shoot, man, they're just trying to see your personality, and we can't group think it. It's just got to come from you, dude.
Okay. Got it.
Cool.
And
Keanu,
last
you had a
thing,
question or you had another question, Lucian?
I had like it's also an intro video for another pipeline, if we can look through it.
Sure. Yeah, pull it up. And while you're pulling it up, Keanu, did you have a quick question or were you reviewing something?
I was going to ask for the profile review and something about outreach, how to kind of. I was wondering if there's a resource to sort of be able to track and manage outreaches that you do and applications and stuff like that, because I don't really
Yeah,
have a way
drop
of organizing.
drop the profile and we'll take a look at that right after Lucian's 1 minute. And then as for tracking, I think someone did drop a free Notion board in the community. I am working on adding like a outreach tracker and thing to RepSelect. So I don't know when that will be done per se, but it should be done soon. But I think someone dropped a free Notion like tracker in the thing in the school community. You could also just use Google Sheets, you know.
Gotcha. Okay, appreciate it. Yeah.
Share screen. Okay, let's take a look at Lucian's.
Hi,
Good setup.
I'm Lucian, and I'm sending you this video because I would love to bring value to one of your clients as a closer. I have over 3 years of experience.
One thing to say, I know I do say that in like the creating 1 minute video training. You guys, you
Yep.
don't have to word for word it, guys, because I don't want there to be like 100 1 minute videos out there that all start the exact same. So
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't
Okay.
have to word for word the first like, hi, I'm sending this because yeah, it's just an example. You can put it in your own words.
Experience in the B2C
Okay.
industry on a BizOp offer, to be more specific, where I have generated over $3 million in revenue with an average closing rate of 30%, mainly with a package of 8.5K. In terms of training, I am certified in Cole Gordon's Remote Closing Academy and have invested over 25K at this point in training, starting from getting one-on-one coaching with 2 8-figure closers, limiting beliefs reprogramming with Zach Michael, and extensive training in Time Martin's Closer College. In terms of my sales approach, I like to use a blend of emotional gap building questions and guiding the prospects towards an emotion-driven decision with a tailored pitch, which leads them into a self-selling position. It's based on a deeply understanding of the prospect's real pain points with curiosity. Therefore, it's really easy to position the solution as a bridge to their desired result. I emphasize the cost of inaction and the reason for change to create internal urgency and transition to pitching, where I specifically tailor every pillar to each prospect with what they've told me in the discovery. And before I get into the pitch and drop the price, I pre-handle any objections to eliminate uncertainty and leave only logistics on the table. The way I'm able to add value to the client's business is obviously through closing deals, having a good closing rate, and generating tons of revenue. But I'm also willing to go above and beyond to not only just close deals that show up on my calendar, but also close referrals. And I'm more than willing to self-set my own deals to counteract any time marketing may be down, or even if marketing is great. I like to keep my pipeline full. Thank you.
I think overall it's pretty solid video, good setup, everything like that. The part at the end talking about closing referrals, working a pipeline, self-setting, that's a pretty good piece. Maybe I would put that earlier in the video somewhere, but I mean, overall, I would just be nitpicking if I kept trying to change everything. But I think it's pretty solid.
Okay. Do you think like in intro videos it's acceptable to cut them and like be noticeable that the video would may be cut or like anything like this?
Not at all. No. You want it to flow. You don't want it to be heavily edited, scripted. You want it to flow.
Okay.
And because like if you can't talk for a minute selling yourself and you need to like chop that up and edit it, it's like, how are you going to sell anything?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you should be able to pitch you with confidence for a minute. You know what I mean? As a salesperson, you know, you should be like, hey, this is why I'm the killer closer, dude. Boom, go. Like, you know what I mean? Because obviously they're going to have products and services that they're going to want you to be able to pitch for a minute without editing. So yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Got it.
Let's pull up this one real quick. Keanu, let's see. Video here. Mock calls. Obviously, just get some more stuff in the portfolio, more specifics. Got a little endorsement here. Let me get this thing out of the way. Cool, little endorsement. Opportunity. Cool, this is some video.
My name's Keanu Simon, and I'd love to work for your company as a closer. There are 3 reasons I think you guys should hire me. The first is that I've closed over 12 deals for HelloFresh in the space of a month. In this field-based sales role, which is commission only, it shows someone that has a high work ethic and someone that's willing to go a step beyond in order to achieve sales targets. The second is I've taken 2 sales courses, 6-figure sales rep by Iman Ghazi and Closer College by T.A. Martin. These 2 courses combined, I've learned how to sell consulting. And the third is that I've continuously invested into honing my sales skills, done over 30 mock sales calls where I've honed in my ability to discover, pitch, and close. Finally, I think I'll be a great fit for your company because I'm someone that's really hungry to learn and I would love to progress into future leadership. Thank you so much for your time. I hope to speak soon.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. I mean, there's not too much sales experience to lean on. So really, it's like you gotta, I think you utilize what you do have pretty well. Overall, the look is good. I mean, if anything, it's like, hey, let's get a little bit better mic so there's less echo. But again, it wouldn't be just a little nitpicky. Maybe the camera angle, get it a little bit more flat and in line with where you're at. So they're not like, you're not like looking down, get it a little bit higher up. Lighting is okay. I don't know if this is natural lighting or if you've got lights on, but slightly dark possibly. But again, super, super, super small tweaks. I think it's overall solid.
Okay. Is the language of the text I'm using is that good? I don't really know.
In terms of the text on the profile.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at it just quickly. Yeah, it looks fine.
Okay, awesome. Appreciate it.
Cool. Daniel.
Yeah. So I had a question about so you said about having the mock calls through Fathom, so that way the recruiters they can see the written stuff. What's said word by word. So is there a way to
upload to Fathom? Is that what you're saying?
Well, let's say I do mock calls there, or I do closing calls. Can I edit it from there so I don't give them a whole huge videos, for them to review?
Yeah, I don't think you can't really edit on Fathom. The actual clips and stuff, I don't think it's that important to try to get the clips on Fathom. I'm just saying if you're going to use anything for a full 1 hour role play, Fathom is a really good source to allow them to jump around, and it could be as simple as pausing and starting your recorder at the specific time. I don't think you can clip out Fathom. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I don't think you can. So yeah, but I wouldn't overthink it too heavily. But yeah.
Okay, that's fine. And
Cool.
then also I had a question about because I was starting to do some Instagram outreach to business owners. So I basically say to them, for example, I open saying something like, hey, name, just noticed, you're a Two-Comma Club owner. And then I say something like, I basically specialize in high ticket sales. I've closed over $1.5 million. Are you currently looking for a skilled closer to scale your offer? That's my opener I'm sending DMs with. And then I do, yeah. So what do you think about that opener, when I DM them?
Yeah, that's not bad. There's always 2 ways to do outreach. There's spray and pray and just hitting massive volume. And both of these ways work, by the way, so I'm not saying either are terrible. There's massive volume with a message like that, and then there's super targeted with a message that's a little bit more directed at the person, which would be hey, I've been watching you for a while, saw you're a fitness trainer, and then giving them reasons why, what fitness means to you, and maybe your history, and then being by the way, I've also, and maybe giving your sales experience with fitness, and then, you know what I mean? Really talking to the business owner and making it seem hey, I've actually taken a look at your funnel, I've gone through it, and then asking them a question about their leads or whatever. So there's really 2 ways you go about it. It's going to be, if there's companies where you really want to work with them, maybe that they've got closers on the team doing to your goals 10K a month. You see that they got closers on the team doing 10, 15, 20K plus. You really want to land that offer. I would go the more tailored approach, and then I would either go as far, more personalized, and I would even go as far as to find them on LinkedIn, see everyone that works there, and just not ask for a job, but just network with the different individuals, whether they're closers, setters, sales managers, and I would connect with them on LinkedIn, talk to them, get on a network call, or just engage with their content for a week, and then before I make my offer per se. If it was a company I really wanted to get on, I'm hey, this is a solid team. But it's also totally fine to just do volume if you're just trying to, land or get the opportunity. with a bunch of other ones that maybe you're not too sure how, if they even have closers or something like that. You know what I mean? So maybe I would mix my approach a little bit, but there's nothing wrong with that message if you're doing it at volume. But if you're doing like 2, 3, 5 outreaches a day, it might be difficult to land a role with a outreach message.
That's more like if you're sending like 50 to 100 or even more, you'd say. per
Yeah,
day.
I mean, maybe not, you don't need to do that much, I'd say, but yeah, that'd be like 20, 50 a day, just trying to get a response from someone kind of message, if that makes sense. So not a bad message, but
Right,
it's
right.
more of a volume message.
Because there was like one, for example, there was one because I mixed the outreach and I started doing also more where I was adding value to their posts, and so I'm wondering if
I see, that's the thing. I'm doing that with companies that I know are solid. Like, don't like you. Everyone here that's looking for a role, you should have like an engagement list, and these are just like maybe you found out a closer was making a lot of money there, or maybe you just know based off the marketing, the leads, and the audience that they've got like a solid team. Like your engagement list shouldn't be like hundreds of people. You should have like a list that slowly grows. Maybe there's like 10, maybe there's 5, maybe there's 20 on there, and those are the people that you're engaging with constantly. You know, you're commenting meaningful stuff on their posts. You're getting your face in their brain so they remember your profile picture because you're always there. And that list is not, it should not be long. It should not be long because it's going to be a waste of time if it's a bunch of companies that don't actually, deserve that kind of attention, right?
but
One,
let's say
go ahead.
let's say it's a two comma club owner, right? I mean, they must have a team, no? Otherwise, how did they get there?
We'll check their funnel. Check the funnel. Do they have so check their link in bio and see, are they collecting phone numbers? If they're collecting phone numbers from the link in bio and there's an opt-in page, probably got setters, right? Probably if they've got to book a call with me, probably. What I do is I check their Facebook ad library, right? So for those of you that don't know, if you just type in Facebook ad library on Google, you can see everyone that's running ads. You can even see my ads on there if you just type in my name. So you can type in the name of the influencer and see if they're running advertising, see how long the ads have been live, right? If ads have been active for like a good indicators for a business that has good lead flow is if they have, it tells you when the ad was launched and then it tells you if it's currently live or not, right? So a good indicator is an ad that was launched months ago or weeks ago or just a further back the better and is still active, because no one leaves an ad active for a long time if they're losing money on it consistently. I mean, I wouldn't say no one, maybe there's someone out there, but highly unlikely that someone's losing money on ads and they're active for a long time. And then if you click the ad, you can actually go see where the ad points to. And if the ad's pointing to a call funnel, or if it's pointing to a VSL, which, video sales letter, where you opt in and you watch a video, you get a free training or whatever, then they probably got setters, they probably got closers, right? So I'm gonna look up that person. And this is why I say you're not doing this for every single person you come across. It's just gonna take so much time. But if you're like, okay, this is probably a solid business, I'm gonna do it. Like if I wanted to get on like Grant Cardone's sales team or Tony Robbins' closing team, like I would do that extra work. Like, you know what I mean? But if I just see like someone posting a random job online with 3K OT, maybe I won't. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I mean, it kind of changed my way of thinking, because I was like, if he's got two comma club, he for sure has.
Well, when did he get it?
Yeah.
When did he get it? What if he got the 2 Comma Club award 5 years ago and his business tanked and he's like selling a different offer completely?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Hey, there's a lot of, I know there's so many people that like they'll make money and then they'll process their own payments through to just get the Comma Club. Like if you think about it, you could get a Comma Club award for like what's the Stripe fee, like 3% less of $1 million. So if you get a lot of cash and you process your own deals through Stripe, yeah, you got to pay Stripe the 3% processing fees, but you get a Comma Club award out of it, and then you can use that to market yourself like you made $1 million. And I'm not saying that's like done by a lot of people, but I'm just saying it's not a catch-all. Oh, 2 Comma Club awards winner, therefore great offer, great closers, great. It's not a catch-all, So
Yeah.
do the extra. instead. Vet offers well, because there's a lot of ways that people are not presenting the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool.
Okay, thanks.
Dylan.
for that.
What's up, man? Know you've been waiting a while. You're on mute.
Yeah, I had to unmute myself. I was like, no. Quick question for you. So, I applied to be a closer with the company. Then they were like, hey, you want to come on as a setter? Because I'm looking more into real estate focused offers because I come from real estate background. So I was an agent for over 5 years. My question being is, when I went and did the setter interview, they wanted me to run through like doing a call, and it was like an 18-minute like. It's a really long like spiel, and I'm not someone that does those long like spiel things because I like to get straight to the point coming from military background. So I'm curious. They're like they sent me this. They're like, hey, look over the script, and then we'll interview you. We just want to see how you do with the script. My question is, how do you like? I mean, like obviously I can try and internalize it through reps, but I felt like when I was like I'm reflecting back on that when I did that interview, I felt like it was very like monotone, very boring because I hadn't like internalized it, and I feel like internalizing something takes time, and I feel like expecting somebody to do this like script with a bang, I think is a little like over the top.
Well, yeah, reading a script and making it sound natural when it's your first couple read-throughs is a skill in itself.
Yeah.
It's a skill in itself, and it's something that you can get better at. But obviously, if you're just not good at it off rip and you're jumping on an interview and they're like, hey, jump on a role play tomorrow and do it based off of this script, it's going to be hard to kind of make up that difference in a day. Are you waiting to that interview, or did you already do it?
I already did it.
Okay. So yeah, what are we asking about it? What are we asking about it?
Yeah, how would you like? I get that you say that it's essentially a skill being able to read off of a script, based off of like tonality and stuff like that, which is really important. But my question is like, how do you, I guess, internalize it faster so it feels more natural? Is it just simply putting in the reps?
Is it a word for word script, or is it like, hey, the pitch part of it was?
It's word for word.
Okay, so they wanted you to ask this question and this question and this question and this question every single time. Say this after, and there's monologues within that as well throughout it, or is it just a list of questions until?
Well, it has like list questions, and then it says like, hey, if you need to probe more here, like you can say like, hey, tell me more about that, or like, hey, I see like XYZ is important to you.
Okay.
It's more probing questions in certain areas, and
it doesn't sound too different from what a lot of scripts are. List of questions, probe here if you need to go extra deep.
Right.
Typically, what they're listening for is, they just want to see if it sounds good and that you hit all of the questions, not necessarily that it's like your perfect robot. So what I would ask for when a company asks me to do role play or whatever, and obviously you can get more of this once you get on the offer, but if you can't get this before, it might be difficult. But you can ask for recordings and just listen to those over and over again. That'll help you internalize that stuff quickly. But what I used to do to memorize scripts when I did a lot of like script selling in different kinds of sales, and even with remote high ticket sales, was I would take it line by line, right? So instead of just reading the whole thing and practicing the whole thing over and over again, I would take a line and I would say it like 10, 20 times, and then I would work on my tone and how I said it 10, 20 times before I moved on to the next line, and to the point where it was just like clockwork. And, the worst sales gig I had to do that for was because their script was 2 hours long. And everything had to be perfect there, and that sucked. But we found a way to make it work. But as long as you hit the main points and the role play went well,
Sure.
it shouldn't be too big of an issue. I would
Sure.
also ask for clarification from them in the interview. I'm not sure if you did, but I would say like, hey, how strict are you on the specifics of like making sure I ask every question in this specific order,
Sure.
in this specific way? Is that something you guys are? And it's okay if you are. I just want clarity. Is that something you guys are 100% on, or
Sure.
is there freedom to, if the call makes more sense to ask this question instead of this one first? Are you guys more malleable?
Sure.
So I would ask that to get confirmation, because some people are like, my script or nothing, you know?
Right.
And some people are like, yeah, here's a script, but I mean, it's whatever. If you need to play with it, I just want to hear your communication skills. If you do natural, use it as more of like a guideline, you know?
Got it.
So clarify that, you know?
Yeah. I just like to ask because I used to sell timeshare for a living. So I'm just literally switching from like face-to-face sales versus like remote sales. And I had to internalize like a really long script when I did timeshare because like their training process is like gnarly. So yeah.
Yeah, most business owners, they want you to follow the script, but they're not like making sure that every line is perfect. It's usually okay if, as long as you hit the main points that they want you to hit, you know?
Got it.
Cool.
Cool.
Don't know your name, Zoom user is all it says, but what's up, man?
Hey, sorry. It's just a quick one.
Yep.
It was just basically within an interviewer process, which transferable skills, when you're going through that situation, when you come from very little sales experience, do they look out for as an employer?
Yeah, so the number one thing that you need to have that's going to help you land a role, or I guess these two things are really important, is communication skills and confidence,
Yeah.
right? Like, and it kind of goes hand in hand. Like you just communicate like a confident person, and you communicate coherently. You know, you're not rambling on in every question that you're asked. You can get straight to the point and you can articulate yourself well. Those are going to be the main things that they're looking for. Outside of that, I've heard a lot of recruiters talk well about people that come from like sports backgrounds, leadership roles, environments where they had to work as a team to achieve something, to, you know, like hit quota or something like that. But yeah, sports has been a big plus from when I've worked with a lot of recruiters. And then, you know, if you ever led a team, manage people, those kinds of things.
Okay, so like for myself personally, like I've come from like a pro sports background. In what way would it be just talking about teamwork skills, or just the results driven side of the industry where every game or training sessions
Yeah.
you're always competing, just kind of highlighting that within to the interviewer, to the employer?
Well, yeah, sales is like a sport. It's like the sports side of the business world, right? Because
Yeah.
there's so many parallels when it comes to, it's not about seniority. It's about the most skilled player gets paid the most at the end of the day,
Yeah.
right? The person who performs the best. The person, you know, as an athlete, you have to train and practice to hone your skills. You have to, you know, you obviously have determination, you have confidence, you want to win, you know. A lot of things, a lot of sales teams, they say you got to have like an athlete mentality to be good at sales, right? So all of those things when it comes to being able to work in a team environment to hit a goal while at the same time being competitive, right? So some people are like competitive in a negative way to where they're willing to pull people down in order to win. But it's like, I want to bring everyone up with me, but I still want to be the top of the team. That's kind of like how you got to be in a team environment when it comes to sports. You know, you're willing to always hone your craft, practice, those kinds of things, like anything, the same stuff that you would do as an athlete. So they'll probably, you being a pro sports player, they're going to look positively on that for sure. I would lean heavily on that experience and the work and the effort it took and the dedication it took.
Okay, yeah, no, that's brilliant. Thank you.
For sure. Haley, what's up?
Hi, I had a question around probing deeper into pain.
Mhm.
Sometimes on calls, I will struggle when somebody says something to me like, if I say, you know, what's the biggest bottleneck you're having in your business? And they say, oh, you know, I'm just getting started. I just don't know. And I say, okay, tell me more about that. Yeah, you know, I'm totally new to this. I just don't know. it can feel disingenuous, and I don't want to come across that way on a call, to just kind of be like, to kind of and feel repetitive, to say like, oh, okay, when you say you don't know, like, I'm just curious, are there different ways to kind of say the same? Because I know we've talked about going 5 layers deep, and I want to make sure that I'm hitting that correctly. So
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times when you're dealing with people that don't understand their problem, you got to go goals first. Now, you can go goals first and just spend time on the goal and then come back afterwards and literally do a goals first call instead of problems first. Or you can just ask one goal question and use it as a segue into the problem, which is how I usually do it. So I might just be like, cool, well, what are you trying to achieve? Like, cool, what's the goal with X? Let's say it's real estate. Cool,
okay,
so what's the goal with the real estate portfolio? They'll be like, oh, well, I want to do this. And be like, and what's in the way? What's stopping you from getting there? And if they still say, well, I don't know, well, why haven't you tried? Or what have you tried to get there? Why haven't you done
okay,
anything, right?
I really appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, because in the past, when somebody says, I don't know, what have you tried? I just don't know. My instinct, just as a person, is to go, okay, well, where do you want to be? Oh, I want to be
Yeah.
here. Okay, cool. You want to be here? What have you done to get there? Have you watched some podcasts? Okay, I'm just want to make sure.
Yeah,
that
and I've legit been on calls where I was just like, well, where do you want to be? And they're like, well, I want to achieve this, achieve that. And I'd be like, why haven't you done it yet? They're like, I'm not sure really. And just kind of look around, and I'll just sit back and go, well, what do you want my help with, man? Like,
Okay.
what are we here for? And at that point, at some point within there, they'll start to open up and give you a real reason. But we can't move on until they give us
Yes.
either clear goals or a clear problem,
Okay. 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 Awesome. Thank you.
No problem. Joseph.
Hey, what's going on, Ty? I question, what other places do you recommend going to find roles that are specific to LinkedIn DM setting? I know dmsetting.com is one. I did apply through that pipeline. Are there any other places you recommend that are like focusing more on that as far as LinkedIn DM setting?
So you want me to name all my competitors and tell you to go there? No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Honestly, a good way to find roles that are like, if you have like a lot of, because there's so many job sites out there. There's so many job sites. There's so many places you go. We all know LinkedIn, Indeed, Glassdoor, all these Google jobs. A really good thing to utilize if you're looking for something very specific, because you might go here and there might be one job that's the one you want. ChatGPT. Say, ChatGPT, I'm looking for a sales role where I do this and I'm selling this type of product, blah, 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 blah. And it'll literally list you job opportunities. And like sometimes it'll list you the job opportunities in different places. Be like, well, if you go here, here's a link to it on ZipRecruiter. Here's a link to that kind of role on Indeed. Here's a link to that kind of role. You know what I mean? And it'll just like consolidate all of the stuff on the internet and find and show you where they all are without having to like check 10 different places and scroll through and use all of their filters and stuff.
Yeah,
Still use your UpSelect though.
One more awesome advice. I'm definitely gonna do that now. Another question: what's your thoughts on going through platforms like why did I go blank on it? Upwork and Fiverr, as far as doing gigs through there or jobs through there.
I haven't looked at Fiverr, but I have looked at Upwork for sales roles, and you could probably find some. The biggest thing for me is like when I'm looking for roles, and it's a little bit different for me and you guys because I'm looking for them at more volume, but when I'm looking for roles, I'm like, okay, where's it going to give me the biggest ROI for my time? And I just don't know if there's enough of those roles on there. And then when it comes to like Upwork and Fiverr, especially, the mindset of the business owner is like cheap labor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're looking for, it's like you're probably going to find a lot of like hourly, low ticket hourly stuff. And I mean, if you're trying to look for your first role and you see like a $20, $30 an hour cold calling gig, like that wouldn't be that bad to pick up and start to build your track record and get some experience. So maybe in that case it would be good. But if I was like an experienced closer looking for like a solid role, like Upwork and Fiverr would not be the place I would look. If I lived in a country outside of the US, Canada, UK, you know, maybe let's say I live in like India, Philippines, or somewhere else, then 100% like Upwork probably a good place to find like a closer role to get your first experience, get yourself in the door, because there's probably going to be some hourly rates that will be good for you and, you know, based on your living situation. So it's really contextual, but take a look at it. But if you don't see a good amount, I wouldn't waste too much or spend too much time there unless you're seeing like some good hourly rates that you're okay with doing.
Okay, cool. Thanks. That's all I got.
No problem. DB, what's up, man?
Hey Ty, how are you?
Good. How are you, man?
I'm good. I just wanted to ask in terms of getting on an offer. So I just want to first and foremost, what are the tips that you can give me in terms of finding quality companies to apply for and on a mass scale? Because I use RepSelect and I use Facebook. And on Facebook, I've been applying like daily, and I have like a target of like 20 and 30, but the quality is not that good. It's usually Telegram groups.
Telegram link. What is your location?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah,
Yeah.
how can I maximize like applying to quality companies and getting on like proper offers?
I mean, all the major job sites, like obviously RepSelect, there's LinkedIn. If you just want to hit volume, I would prioritize reaching out directly to good companies over applying to just jobs, right? So the thing about a sales role is companies are always willing to bring on someone who can prove that they'll bring a good ROI to the team, because bringing on a commission-only closer or setter that brings an ROI is always profitable. And there's never not a time to do that unless your company's at a stage where it just can't handle more volume. So I won't say there's never a time, but unless they're like, hey, we're growing so fast and delivery systems can't keep up, that's the only time when they would not want to bring on a salesperson. So if you can prove that you can sell and bring a good ROI, which means you have like a good portfolio, good videos, whatever, even though the company doesn't have job opportunities out, they're going to be like, they'll give you a look. And good organizations, there's so many like sales books and sales training for managers, like sales managers, that say no matter what, interview someone every week, just so you know and you're ready to bring people onto the team when something happens or whatever. So, and there's so many job opportunities that are happening behind the scenes. Like the amount of jobs that like are on RepSelect that sometimes you don't even see anywhere else, because like I have a friend of mine who manages sales teams who said they have a buddy that's looking for a closer, and that person doesn't have that job opportunity anywhere, but they just, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of referral stuff that go on behind the scenes. So if you want to just hit volume, I would spend a lot of time, if I already applied to everything that I've seen, reaching out and just connecting with people. And that could be sales managers and recruiters, definitely. Closers as well. Connect with closers, not just asking for a job, not asking where they work, but just connecting with them, getting on a networking call, whatever. And maybe after a week or so that you've connected with them, maybe you can make the ask, even with like sales managers, stuff like that. I'd spend time engaging with their content, that kind of thing. Like you see a lot of times where closers are posting wins that they close this deal, close that deal. Like, you know, connect with that person. Again, not asking what team you're on, but over time you have a bunch of people in your network that are on offers. You post that you're looking for an offer, let's say on your Facebook page or LinkedIn page. You've been engaging with people who've built some goodwill. You're going to start to get some inbound and referrals for yourself as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Thank you.
So think of it as like you're building your overall network to get as many opportunities as possible. Everyone that's looking for a role should be doing a combination of both outreach directly for the short term so they can get jobs, but then also networking and brand building and for the long term so that they can get inbound jobs sent to them and have people that refer. My best clients, whether I've done high ticket coaching, sales management, whatever I've done, has always been referral based. The people that have paid me the most money, there was no sales call. It was literally just like, hey, I have a friend that needs a guy to help him with his sales team. I'd send him your way. And the guy texted me and he's like, yeah, whatever his name said, you're good. Send me, what's your price? Oh, this is my price. Okay, cool. Let's get started. And that was it. Like, there's no sales call, there's no channeling, nothing. So it's like, build your network for the long term, reach out to companies and to job opportunities for the short term. Even when you're on an offer, keep building that network. Keep building that network. You can see Hussein in the chat just saying he got a job inbound, right? And the way you build that network is, every day or every other day or whatever your cadence is, post about your growth, your progression, connect with other people. And there's lots of ways to do it, but just, you get on. Lots of successful people that I talk to, they just say like, yeah, I try to get on at least 2 or 3 network calls a week just to see how people are doing. And they're so giving. They're like so giving. One guy, the CEO of Nomadic Closer, Joel, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he just reached out to me and he's like, let's get on a call, let's chat, whatever. And he's like, hey, how can I help you? How can I help you? What can I do for you? How can I help you make more money? How can I, and he's just like so giving. Even those you might know, the guy that runs Undeniable Closer, he reached out to me as well. He's like, hey, let's get on a call, let's chat. And the same thing, he's like, hey, how can we collaborate? How can I help? Whatever, right? So it's like the guys at the top are just, it's just standard practice every week for them to just be connecting with someone that's either a little above or on the same level as them in a similar role, just so that they can expand their network, because referral stuff goes around like crazy. You'd be surprised. So it's like, build your brand, post consistently so people start to get to know you, but then also just connect with people behind the scenes as well. That's what I would be doing with my time outside of just applying to regular like jobs. We're always gonna, like, if we just spend all day applying to roles, you're just gonna run out of roles eventually. You know what I mean? And yeah, maybe you spend other time, but there's so much, like, we're just talking about an ROI standpoint of time. There's other better stuff doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. No, thank you.
No
Thanks.
problem. Joseph, what's up, man? Last couple questions before we got to run.
That was a mistake. I left my hands on.
That was a mistake?
Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, get out of here. Daniel, what's up, man? Is that a mistake too?
No, that wasn't a mistake.
Not much. Just coming in late. That's all. Seeing what's up.
Oh, there's two Dans in the chat.
Oh, my bad.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. I meant Daniel with his hand up, but welcome, man. Welcome to the call. Daniel Anderson, what's up, man?
Yeah, so about the networking, what you talked about. So
Mhm.
is it just coming from, because, you're looking to get on a call, network, like, what are some good examples of just saying, like, hey, how can I help you, with your, or whatever you're doing with closing? I mean, they probably want to know what the context of the call is, right? So even if it's networking, what are like some good examples of how we can execute on that?
You're saying like when you're like reaching out and messaging these people?
Yeah, like let's say, yeah, it's some
Well,
like,
dude, I've networked with people by literally just shooting them a message and being like, "Yo, Daniel, let's connect, man. Would love to hear what you got going on these days."
mhm.
And that's it. And
Just
then
your,
they'll be like, "Yeah, sure." And they drop me a calendar link. I drop them one. But again, that the response to that is more dependent on how they see you than what you actually say in the message.
mhm,
Like
yeah,
for example, if a business owner with a big audience messaged you and just said, "Yo, Daniel, book with me," and sent the calendar link, you would probably book. Like, you know what I mean, without even thinking about it. But if someone like with no profile picture and no post just sent you that same message, you probably wouldn't just book. You know what I mean? You could send audio messages, you could send videos like Hussein is saying in the chat there. But dude, if you're like engaging with that person for a few days and then you reach out to them and your engagements are like good and genuine and then you reach out to them to network, they're probably just you'd be surprised how many people are just open to just hop on and chat for like 15, 20 minutes. Like a 15-minute calendar link, 20-minute calendar link. Don't make it an hour, Maybe they'll be like, what is this, sales call? Make like a 15-minute calendar link. You'd be surprised how many people are just down to just jump on and chat and see what's up,
yeah, okay, that helps. And then the other thing was, I applied for this role and it seemed very good. I mean, it was kind of like selling insurance. It seemed like there was a lot of opportunity to get
Insurance sales.
Yeah, insurance. So what do you think about that? Like, is it a good sector? Because it
Eh,
seemed new, but they were like, oh yeah, you can make 20, 30K a month and all of that stuff.
eh. I mean, well, I can't say too much. I don't have experience in insurance, but I mean, insurance is different. It's definitely very different. There's a lot of MLM stuff when it comes to insurance, so you want to be careful it's not that. The only time I would ever do an insurance role is if like if it was like a team where they provided the leads and we just called them, So if there's something like that, then maybe sure, but most people that I've worked with that worked in insurance, they just like had their own thing going where they bought their own leads and they were literally running their own business. Like, yeah, sure, you could say they were a salesperson, but they were just running their own business, buying their own leads and then closing them. And then they were managing the profit margin between buying leads and the income they made from closing them. And that was and I helped them with their sales. But yeah, I'm not the most experienced on insurance, but it is very different from,
Right.
SaaS sales or tech sales or like high ticket sales, coaching sales. It's very, very different.
And so with these, there's some roles, for example, that if I really want to work with, like they sometimes say, do you require sponsorship to go to the US or something like that? And let's say, if I really like the role and I'm making money, I don't mind coming to the US and working there. Like I don't mind, but it seems like it's a turn off for them if they have to provide a sponsorship for me. So I don't know. What would you recommend around that for me?
It really depends on the company. Like if they're like, we only want to hire someone that's within these states, then, I mean, I would still apply no matter what. I would still apply. But it's like a lot of those companies, they might be just okay with you working in Canada. It just depends. It really depends on the company. I would maybe say, like, if the job post specifically says only hiring someone from X amount of state, then maybe just put like, yeah, I need sponsorship,
Yeah.
But yeah, it just depends. But again, if it's a company you really want to work with, reach out directly to some people on the team and see what's up. See if it's if really a US only thing, or because a lot of these companies, like, they don't mind hiring someone from Canada. Like if they're from like the UK or somewhere outside of Canada, then they might be more strict on, okay, US only, but usually, I mean, Donald Trump's trying to take over Canada, right? So who knows? You might not need sponsorship soon. But yeah, I'm not too sure on that. It just comes down to the company.
Right. Okay. I see. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for the
Cool,
call.
cool, cool. Awesome. Well, we will end it there. Hopefully everyone learned something from this call. It's like this one was rapid fire today. I like that though. It's good. It's good. It's awesome. All right, boys and girls, if there are any left in the call, I'll see you next Monday if you jump on. If you want more of me and the calls to be less packed, you can jump on Wednesdays and Fridays through the Closer College membership. We do 2 more of these, and I'm going to add probably 1 more, just so that it's even more sparse, so that we can make sure everyone gets enough time to get stuff reviewed and get some progress there. But yeah, guys, I'll see you guys next week. Be active in the community, and let's all get some results this week. Let's crush. Have a good one. Recording will be posted soon in the community as well. See ya.